So this, with this spirit of responsibility, of consideration, of solidarity, of true solidarity, not only showing solidarity 1 or 2 days a year by going to the Red Cross or any of these welfare or these organizations to donate something. Yes, this is solidarity, and this is something appreciated. But what about the rest of the year? When Islam imposed zakat, zakat is, as the Prophet ﷺ described it, is some kind of insurance for your money against the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you pay it each year. And you're encouraged to give sadaqah as well. And the best example, or among the best examples that we face in the Islamic history, is when the Prophet ﷺ is going to send an army, which was Jaysh al-Usra, and Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu arda, he came to the Prophet and he gave him everything he had. Umar radiallahu anhu, he gave half of his property. Uthman radiallahu anhu, he came and he equipped at least 1,000 soldiers of his money. So we see that Islam doesn't tell you to get poor, but it tells you to distribute, to give others, so we can rejoice together. And Islam is not against being rich. Abdurrahman ibn Auf, for instance, here we can take some mathematics. Abdurrahman ibn Auf, when he died, he had 4 wives. And of course, he had kids, a lot of kids, I don't know how much. Each and every one of his wives received $70,000. Now, times 4, 25 grams equals 8,000. Each and every of his wives. Now imagine these children. So he must have been very wealthy. I mean, now you're talking about a multi-millionaire, at least. Calculators. So you see that Islam is not against being rich. I mean, poverty is not that Islam. Yes, how much was it?
297,500
grams.
Almost 300 kilograms.
300 kilograms times, if you take 300,000 grams times 200 kroner per each gram, that makes how much? 60 million kroner for each wife. So 240,000 is 240 millions just for the wives, and you're not including the children. So apparently he had at least half a billion or something. So Islam is not against being rich. And Islam is not propagating for being poor. Yes, the Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith that the poor people will enter paradise 400 years before the rich people. But in this hadith, the Prophet was not encouraging people to get poor, but he was saying that poor, since they don't own anything, and what will Allah ask you if you're poor? About which property are you going to be asked? You don't have a property to ask about, but if you're rich, you will be asked, from where did you get this money? What did you do with it? How did you dispose of it? To whom did you give and to whom didn't you give? You had 3 children, but you gave to 2 of them, and the third, what did you do with them? We have heard, at least I have heard, about Brothers and sisters, once their father dies, they would deprive the sisters from the inheritance, and they will distribute it among only the brothers. And this is haram. This is haram. It is a grave sin. It's a grave sin. Because Islam distributes. Islam doesn't exclude. Nothing is exclusively for this or that group, but it has to be shared. So Islam is not in any way encouraging or motivating poverty or being poor. On the contrary, it encourages people to live. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the time of the Prophet Musa alayhi salam, you know that in Egypt there was a very rich person, Qarun, and he was an Israelite. But he didn't wish to join the believers, he preferred to stay a disbeliever. And his people was encouraging him, come to our side, be a Muslim, be a believer. And they told him, وَابْتَغِ فِيمَا آتَاكَ اللَّهُ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةَ, and seek with what Allah has given you the other day, the last day, اليوم الآخرة. وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيا, and don't forget your share, your part of this dunya. وَأَحْسِنْ كَمَا وَلَا تَبْغِي الْفَسَادَ فِي الْأَرْضِ, and don't seek to spread fasad, disaster, destruction on earth. وَأَحْسِنْ كَمَا أَحْسَنَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْكَ, and behave well as Allah has been behaving well to you. And yet he insisted on living and dying as a Catholic. But in this ayah you see that being rich is not something negative. It's not something that will deprive you the highest level of Iman or the highest level in Jannah. On the contrary, Abdul Rahman ibn Auf and Uthman ibn Affan, two among the 10 persons that we know that Prophet ﷺ guaranteed that they will enter paradise, two of them were millionaires at least. And Abdul Rahman ibn Auf, you see how much he had. So there is no contradiction between being a true believer, a true and practicing believer, and a rich person. Because you know, when you're a true believer, you know what Allah has commanded you and what Allah has prohibited you, and you follow them, both of them, in order to maintain your life in the best way, in order to help humanity to develop, and in order to guarantee or trying to get a guarantee that on the Day of Judgment, the questions that will be directed to you from where did you get your money, how you did this work, that you will have answers to them. You will be able to answer those questions, and in such way you will enter paradise, inshallah. To conclude, just before opening the Q&A session, I'll explain a little bit about the idea of financial association or companies in Islam. Islam allows companies because it's a necessity for human beings to be able to join associates, financial or economic associates, and for companies, I mean. And in this way, Islam has defined that there are 5 types of how to establish a company. You have Aynan, you can call it equal. Abdan, persons. Abdan in Arabic it means it comes from badan, which is body, so abdan it's bodies. But I'll translate it with persons, and I'll explain that later.